Hi, hello. Welcome to my reselling channel, Flippin' Hippos. I'm Star. Today is Monday, so it's time for a highlight reel on our sales. But if you hadn't noticed, last week I did not have a what sold video or a highlight video come out. I had a couple of really busy weeks, and I also was a little under the weather. So while that got recorded, it never got edited and put up on the channel. So last Monday, which would have been June 1st, there was no highlight video. But it's already been recorded, so we might as well watch it. So today, you guys are in for a special treat. You're getting a double feature. First, you're going to see the video that was recorded for June 1st, looking at sales from May 21st to 28th. And then at the end of that one, I'll be back to look at May 29th through June 5th. So enjoy your double feature. Hi, hello, and welcome to my reselling channel, Flippin' Hippos. I'm Star. Today is Monday, so it's time for a highlight reel. What sold on all the places? Today, I had to be really selective in choosing the highlights that I wanted to show you. We had a really great week, or we had an average week and then a really great weekend. Our Memorial Day weekend sales were really good. We sent out 2 full IKEA bags Tuesday morning. Historically, Memorial Day weekend is always really good for us. It's actually one of our best selling weekends every year outside of Q4. I never knew why. I don't question it. I just look for it to happen every year, and knock on wood, it does. So I have a lot to show you today. I was very selective, but I still had a lot of items that I wanted to show you, whether it was a celebration of something great that sold or to highlight it for an educational purpose. I also sold on 7 platforms last week. I made sales on 7 platforms. I just added Vinted last Friday, and I hit all 7 over Memorial Day weekend. So I'm very excited that that happened. It was a really great weekend. And again, I don't know why, but every year it's one of our best selling weekends. It might be because people are last minute shopping before summer vacation. Graduates have their gifts of money that they're spending. People may still be trickling in tax returns. But it was a really great weekend. I got a lot to show you, so let's get to it. I tried to be real choosy and picky, but there was still a lot that was like, yeah, I really want to talk about this. All right, let's start with Depop. We'll work our way backwards. I had 4 sales on Depop. Now, 4 sales on eBay would be catastrophic and I would be out of business. 4 sales on Depop is a really good week on Depop. I don't sell a lot on there. I don't do that well on there, but I have kind of changed how and what I'm selling on Depop in the last week or two. And I think that this is the result. You can see over here, the prices aren't very much, and that's okay. So what I'm doing with Depop and what I've pivoted to do with Whatnot and now Vinted that I've added it, those 3 platforms I'm using as clearance. So I'm taking items that are on my eBay that have been there for longer than 2 years. And if you know anything about me, I marry my inventory and I keep it until it sells. So I have stuff all the way back to 2021. And a lot of that stuff on eBay, I'll go ahead and clearance. I've talked about that on this channel. I created a store category on my eBay called clearance just for me, for purposes, so I can set up a 50% off sale using eBay's tools. And it allows you to just go by category. So I can choose just that category and run that sale. So I thought, you know, Depop and Whatnot are kind of known for folks that want lower prices. The fees are a lot lower on Whatnot. There's no fees on Depop. And now I've added Vinted. There's no fees for sellers. So anything that is that old and already going to be clearanced out on eBay, I'm putting on these 3 platforms at 50% of the original price I wanted. And it's working. And I'm selling stuff. And I'm getting rid of a lot of old, stale inventory. So I'm okay with these prices that you're going to see on Depop and Vinted because it's stale inventory. I'm moving it. I'm making room for new stuff. I'm letting go of things. And if I was to run a show on Whatnot, I'm going to get $3 to $6 an item anyway, and have to set up, and not just physically set up, but you have to create the show and add the items. There's a lot behind the scenes with Whatnot. And then you have to sit there for an hour and hope people come in and hope people buy. Why? When I can take 15 minutes every morning and move 10 items to 3 platforms at those same prices I would have done on a live show and just move it. So I sold 4 items on Depop. Just these maternity jean shorts, a highlighter, a makeup, an Olaf plushie that's been around since, gosh knows, 2020 maybe, and a tank top. And then on Vinted, I just started listing on Friday of last week. So this, actually, when I'm recording it. So you guys are watching this on the 1st of June. Hi, happy June. See, sometimes when I record stuff, I don't notice that. It is the 1st of June when you're watching this. So happy June, everybody. We're almost to the official first day of summer. And this is the last month of Q2. So I started listing on the 22nd, and I'm recording this on the 28th. So this is my first week on Vinted. 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of shorts have sold. Good. Get out. You're old. Clearancing it out. I would rather, I've already stated all the reasons, a lot of the reasons why I'm doing this. Clearancing it, getting rid of it. It's the same price I would get on Whatnot, and it's fine to clearance items out. But I would rather do this than pull the items completely and redonate them or get rid of them. I already put the time and effort into listing these and photographing them, even if it was 4 years ago, 2 years ago. Why not get a little bit of money? Even these ones that went for $2.26, there's no fees. I paid 99 cents originally, so I at least got $1.26 out of it instead of redonating it. It gives me activity on all my platforms because I'm listing more. It's more consistency, and I'm getting more sales on Vinted. So for me, it's a win-win. This is a really good way, I think, to clearance items out. So if you're like me, marry your inventory, you have a bunch of it. Maybe you're not so interested in doing Whatnot shows to clearance it. Maybe running clearances on eBay isn't getting rid of it. I think these are the 3 platforms to clearance out on. Folks really expect lower prices on these 3 platforms. And the Whatnot, I only had 2 sales this week, but here they are. A Build-A-Bear shirt that sold for $3, and then a Mickey Mouse puppet for $5. Mercari had quite a few sales over the weekend. They were just like run-of-the-mill, lower-end comics and things that weren't too exciting, so I only pulled one highlight. This vintage oil bottle fleur-de-lis. I got this. I want to say this was in the box of stuff Keith and I got from his aunt's estate, but he said no. I said, where did we get this? Is it from? He said no. I said, I swear it was in that box. I don't normally thrift for stuff like this. I don't normally source stuff like this. So it doesn't seem like something I would get. But you know what? It was here and it got listed. It sold for $18 on Mercari. So hey. $28 plushie on Etsy. Etsy was kind of quiet last week. I just have two sales to show you. But I got 2 sales on the weekend that were worth showing you. The $28 vintage Dakin. And I actually had him in a Whatnot show. That was, I would say it was pretty popping for me. You guys know I'm not doing that great. I'm not like hundreds of viewers. I have like 9 and it's a good show. Woo, it's popping. And I offered him for 3 or even 2 maybe. No one wanted him. but he found the right person on Etsy and I got 28. This vintage abalone shell necklace. I sold a pair of abalone shell earrings on eBay too, and I don't know if I pulled those up to highlight, but I had 2 abalone sales. Abalone is really pretty. I always get real excited when I find it in my boxes, and if you ever source jewelry and you see that, I would suggest grabbing it. It's like a shell that's kind of multicolored. You see it? It's really pretty. So that sold for $24. We're going to get into some highlights on Poshmark. Last week, you guys saw the African safari wooden necklace I sold for $56. This one sold for $30. I'll take it. I've actually had these wooden necklaces for quite a while. I believe they were in the first, and if not the very first box of jewelry I ever bought, they were in the second box. And that was back in, good golly, was it 24 when I started selling jewelry, or was it 23? I know I sold it all of last year. It was the beginning of 24. So they've been around a while. And I was starting to worry that it was my prices, and then one sold for $56. This week, this one went on an offer of $30. They've been around. I'd like to get more of like $50 for them, but I'll take the $30. And the other one was a little more intricate and had a little bit more stuff going on. I will take it. And then I sold another wooden one. This was just handcrafted. This one was $26. Another set of DVDs that were my own. Remember, Keith and I purged and spring cleaned our house, and so we're still moving and selling some stuff that was ours. In fact, I still have a small pile, a medium, let's be honest, it's medium, a medium-sized pile of stuff, from blankets to, I think I still have coffee mugs. I'm not sure. There's like this whole pile behind me still that I need to photograph of stuff that was ours that we want to get rid of. But I did get a lot of it up in April, and this was part of it. $10 for DVDs that were sitting in my entertainment center forever. I never watch anymore. Thank you. I love to clean out my house and sell my stuff. It's one of the best parts of being a reseller. We have this really cool, it's a leather snap bracelet, but it has chunky chains on it and all these little charms. I thought it was cute. 22 for that. 16 for a Douglas cuddle toy, barn owl. This used to be a really big Bolo brand. Now it's more bread and butter. I have noticed over the years that a lot of plush has really fallen down in value, a lot more so than even the clothing brands that happens to. And I would have thought it would have went the other way, because getting plush is harder and harder nowadays. A lot of places didn't have it during COVID, and even for a couple of years after. It's more expensive. Less people are sourcing it and selling it. I just, I don't know. And then this necklace sold for $17. I just wanted to show you that. Any unique pieces you ever, if you buy it bulk, obviously you're looking through it, you want to pull out the most valuable ones first. You always want to prioritize. And I always look for stuff like this. But if you're a one-offer or you're at an estate sale or something, you know, always look for these unique pieces. Here's another unique piece. This is just a pendant. Very nice pendant. 16. And then I sold a little bundle. Not too big of a deal. $11 for these panties and this Brett. But the reason I wanted to show you this is to talk about bundling. Sometimes you buy 50 pairs of new tags underwear for $10 or $20 or whatever. And so you're willing to list them all at $8 a pair. And then you get an offer to lot them up with a barrette you had up for $12, and you take $11 for both. I have items that are $80, and I have items that are $8. And I even not sometimes have comics on eBay that I do $3 plus like the 6 shipping. I'm always willing to bundle. I like to bundle more expensive items, of course, but then the discount's a little bit bigger too, right? But I'm always willing to sell more. If it means lumping some low-end stuff together, that's great. If it means lumping more expensive items together and giving a little deeper discount, that's great too. Whenever you can sell more than one item to one buyer and have one shipping label and one shipping price and package to deal with, it's great. I wish more people would bundle. I wish all my sales were bundles. It would be fantastic. Hudson jeans with shipping. These are still $30 all in. So this is still a good brand. By all means, for everything that is holy, do not watch this video. Go out and source Hudson and start racing to the bottom and being a turd. Let's keep these at $30 to $35 value. Thank you. But yeah, they're still good jeans. They have a British flag inside. I believe they are a UK brand. Still a good brand to source. Piece of costume jewelry that sold for $20 plus 7 shipping. Nice piece. I'm starting to think I did not pull the abalone earrings out. I am showing these to you because I want to make a very valid point about that race to the bottom. One of the things I always tell people, if you need to sell your item lower than everybody else, if you want to sell it first or more quickly because you need the money, if you've been holding on to it for a few years and you want to get rid of it, don't just lower the price. Run a sale. You can see I still listed my silvers at $39.99 plus 10 shipping. That's what I always start silver jeans at. I used to start them more around 50 or 60, but it is what it is. And some will still sell at that price. Sometimes I have to take offers. This particular pair has been around long enough that I have clearanced it. So I have put it in that 50% off sale that I was talking about earlier, but at the original price. This is how you can get rid of stuff without lowering the prices themselves. This helps not contribute to the race to the bottom. This will also help you because when you run sales, you get preferential treatment in the searches. You'll get more eyes on your product. And psychologically, buyers are more likely to buy an item when it's on sale than when it's just priced too low. Because if you have silver jeans for $19.99, I have them for $39.99, they're going to think something's wrong with yours, possibly. There's perceived value. But if you have them on a sale, one, they're getting a deal. They're getting a huge discount. That's exciting. Buyers love it. And now they're not wondering what's wrong with them. They just think that you're running a sale. If you have them on all the time, people just assume you run really great sales or you're clearancing. If it happens around a holiday, they assume that. But if you don't have a sale and you have a low price, there's a perceived value. So you shouldn't price your items low anyway to begin with. You want to price at market value. You don't want to participate in the race to the bottom. You don't want to be a turd nugget. And you want people to have a perceived value that your items are worth what they're worth. But if you do have a need to get rid of them, you can always run sales. And that is what I do. And this was on clearance. So this pair, for whatever reason, didn't sell in the last, I think these have been around for maybe 2 years. And it could be the size. It could be that maybe size 29 is a bad size. Maybe no one wants the straight-legged mid-rise. I do really well with low-rise, boot cut. I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. I could list this same exact pair tomorrow and maybe sell it in a week. Reselling is a very fickle business, but I do clearance things out. You know, I do marry my items, but I am willing to clearance them on eBay. And now I have 3 more platforms in which to do that on. Very exciting. I'm going to clear out some old stuff. I have already made so much room in my garage by doing this process with stuffed animals or plush. I've been running them 50% off on eBay. And for like the last probably 6+ months, I've been putting them on the static whatnot at 50% off. And they did a bunch of whatnot shows. I cleared an entire wall of my garage and then an alcove, like a whole big corner. And then we were able to put some stuff from the middle up on shelves. it's just a world of wonder. So I'm really excited to keep doing that because I have lots of stuff. I have a big death pile. I need room to put things, and I don't want to get to capacity to where I can't keep sourcing and listing, because I will not store stuff offsite. If my business gets so big that I need to store stuff offsite, I am definitely downsizing. I like to be all here in my house. Riders by Lee. These are jean shorts. I like Riders by Lee. They typically have plus sizes. I like their pants. I like their jeans. I like their shorts. These were $17 all in, which is a good price for jean shorts. Paddington Bear clearanced, 50% off. You can see it right there. And I had 2 of these. One sold almost right away, like a couple years ago when I first got them. That first one sold for right around $20. And then his twin sat, and he sat, and he sat, and now he sold. A Gap button-up shirt. Don't sleep on Gap or Old Navy. You know, those are good bread and butter brands. With shipping, this is right around a $23 shirt. A Build-A-Bear. This one I had just put on 30% off for the holiday. If it had gone around again, I might have, like if it hadn't sold, I probably would have clearanced it at $50. I know he was on Whatnot at 50% off. But still sold even on sale for $19. And Lucky brand is still a good brand. I know a lot of people don't like it. These I did put at 50% off, but you can see I start them right around $30, 25 to $30 usually, depending on my sales. And this is just another one that sat long enough, but I do sell Lucky brand for $20 to $25. I'm thinking it was another size that was just harder to sell. But it's so fickle because I can sometimes list something and it'll sell right away, like the Paddington Bear, and then the next one sits until I clearance it. But that's why I always start high, because if something's going to sell immediately or within the 9 months to a year, I want to sell at the high price. Then we'll talk about lowering and doing sales. I do deal in stuff that's very long tail, so I expect that most of my stuff is going to take 6+ months to sell. If any of you longtime viewers remember when Keith and I used to sell our guides, the spreadsheets that showed you the average sale price and sell-through rate on everything, we would color code the sell-through rate. And 95% of clothing brands are slow, which means they take 6+ months to sell. It just is. There's so many people selling on eBay. There's so much oversaturation that if you are in clothing, you are in a long tail situation and you're taking 6+ months to sell your items, with the exception of really rare one-offs, luxury brands, unique vintage items, things like that. But if you do any of like the brands I do, any kind of volume, you're looking at 6+ months, usually 9. And I price high, and I'm willing to run sales and do offers in that first, whatever. But I always start high. You always have the option to come down if it sits too long. But I would really recommend that you not consider something stale until like a year. Up to 6 months, it's still, it's good. And then you can start thinking about delisting, relisting, looking at it a little bit more and changing things, and then doing the sales. Just a nice piece of costume jewelry I wanted to show you because it sold for $26. I know I mentioned this in almost every highlight reel, but costume jewelry is not garbage. It's not junk. It's not garage sale prices. You can price your costume jewelry relatively high for what it is, and get the money that you deserve and get what you're worth, right? All right. Hi, I'm back. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about anything you saw in this video or reselling in general, please let me know. I know there was a lot of information in this what sold video. There were a lot of things I wanted to talk about and a lot of teachable moments I took advantage of, so we could discuss stale listings, clearancing items out, costume jewelry, pricing, brands. I will take every available opportunity to turn a moment into a teachable moment, because this is a teaching channel. This is where we learn how to resell. Sure, we celebrate our sales and we get excited for what we find when there's hauls, but we are also always learning on this channel. Always. I'm always learning from other resellers, and I want to share that with you guys. And if you have something to share with me, use the comment section. We can always be improving ourselves and being more productive and more successful. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because you guessed it, it helps me feed all my hungry little hippos back here. And it takes a lot to feed them. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, I'm back for part 2. So we are, again, looking at May 29th through June 5th. And yet again, I've got sales on 7 platforms. Consistency is definitely key. But always keep in mind that I'm using 3 of my platforms, Whatnot, Vinted, and Depop, to clearance out older items. So I do have items that are from 2024 and older, and I'm putting those on those 3 platforms at 50% off of what I wanted on eBay. That's about the point I run my 50% off sales on eBay as well, just to kind of get rid of the stale inventory. I do not go through and pull old inventory and redonate it. I never have, and I never will. I spent the time to source, whether I went to the Goodwill and pulled it off the rack or shopped online. I spent that time and money to source an item. I spent the time to photograph and measure it, and I spent the time to list it. By pulling the items and just redonating them when I consider them old, to me, that's saying all that time was not valuable, that my time is not worth money or value. Is it okay to say that maybe my time is worth a little bit less? Yes, some items sit for a long time and you can clearance them out. But if I'm paying $1 for something and I'm getting $3 to $6 and sometimes even $8 when I clearance them out, I'm still 4 timesing my money if I sell it for $4. My cost of goods is low enough that I'm okay with clearancing items, then I make my money back and I make a little bit of profit, and I can reinvest that into newer items, and I have more room in my inventory system, more room in my garage for newer items. And if I just pulled a pair of shorts and redonated it because it's from 2022, I've actually lost $1 and all the time that I invested in that. But if I can get $4 for it, I can take that $4 to the Goodwill or to a church sale and get 4 more brand new items. So that is my philosophy. You don't have to follow my philosophy. Lots of people do pull and donate. Lots of people only keep things for a certain amount of time or a certain season. And if that's how you run your business, that's fine. I would just tell you to think about how valuable your time is. And is it worth it to just redonate, or would it be better to do a Whatnot show or clearance items out? But I wanted to say all this and preface this part of the highlight video just to be very clear and very transparent and very honest. Yes, I'm selling on 7 platforms regularly, shipping on 7 platforms every day, knock on wood. But 3 of those I have a lot of clearance prices on. I have stuff on Depop and Whatnot at full price back when I was listing on those platforms before I decided to use them as clearance. Vinted has been clearance all along. But I don't want you to get excited and be like, oh, Star's selling on 7 platforms. What's wrong with me? How come I'm not? Because I'm clearancing things out. I'm making room for new inventory for Q4. But it is something to consider. Okay, so let's share the screen. Now that I've talked your earballs off, I love to talk though, y'all know that. And you can see I have all my tabs up here open. I do not have every single sale from May 29th through June 5th, just highlights. You guys know I pick my highlights based on what I want to talk about with you, or celebrate with you, or have a teachable moment with you. Whatnot, I still pull up my Whatnot sales on my List Perfectly catalog, because I cannot, and I don't think there is a way. I keep saying I can't figure out a way, but I don't think there is a way to look at your whatnot sales without blasting first and last names and addresses of your buyers, which I don't want to do. So I sold 2 movies. Very briefly, try to keep this long story short. Last year, I think around November, Keith and I cleared out our entertainment center. We had I think it was over 200 movies that we didn't want anymore. Now, a lot of them we had doubles. I don't know what's going on the last 20 years, but some movies I apparently just kept buying because I thought I didn't have a copy of Friday the 13th. And so now I had 10. But we just kind of went through it with a keen eye of purging and kept our favorites and the best collector's editions. And in some instances, horror movies that I really like, I got rid of those DVDs and got a collector's instead. I ran whatnot shows for 2 months from Black Friday through, I think, the end of February. And I got rid of a lot of the DVDs, selling them for $2 and $3 a piece and offering bundle deals. And that was great, but it had run its course. So I started listing them on eBay first, and then I've been moving them to other platforms, and I've been making pretty good sales. Nobody wanted my Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino or my Jeepers Creepers for $2 or $3 on a whatnot show, but they paid $10 plus shipping on whatnot for a static listing. So this is one of the things as an example of what I put on whatnot at full price is my DVDs and video games that we still have. I just kind of pulled up Depop so you can see here. You can remember what I showed you last week, which was actually in this same video 5 minutes ago. But just still things clearancing out, and very transparently, you can see the prices over here. Just getting rid of stuff. And then the same with Vinted. $5 for this pair, $3.50, $6.50, $3.20, $6.64. So just getting rid of some stuff here. So you can see it's working. And then I wanted to show you this sale without accidentally showing you anything for the buyer. Make sure I don't have to stop and edit. Nope, you can see my P.O. box, and that's fine. Y'all can see my P.O. box. But I wanted you to see this because you guys know that I'm always telling you, go ahead and clean out your house. Get rid of DVDs you don't want. Clean out your knickknacks. Clean out your closets and your dressers. We are resellers. You can spring clean and fall clean your house 2-3 times a year and get rid of stuff you don't want anymore. And I do subscribe to the Ipsy makeup bags. I love my Ipsy subscription. I absolutely love the sample makeups I get. And I don't really buy a lot of makeup anymore. I just use what they send me. And sometimes they send me something I don't like and don't really think I'll use. And I do sell the makeup and the skincare as well. I pay yearly for my subscription, but I want to say it's $11.95 or $12.99 a month. And if you sell one item out of the bag that you don't want to use, you've paid for that month's bag. And then you've got 4 other items. They send you 5 samples a month. Actually, sometimes full size. They do a lot of e.l.f. products, eyes, lips, and face, e.l.f., which is a great drugstore skincare and makeup product. I'm way off tangent here, but I do want to address the fact that I love e.l.f. because it does not test on animals, and that is super important to me. You guys know how much I love animals. And a lot of times Ipsy will send you a full size product from e.l.f. I love e.l.f. products. Anyway, I say all this to say, I have a subscription. I love the makeup and skincare. When I get something I don't want to use, I sell it. I've paid for that month's bag, and I've got 4 other items I can use. And I also sell the bags. So this time I had saved up 21 of them to sell, and I kind of listed them for right around $2 a piece-ish. And sometimes I list them 1 or 2 at a time if I have a really special one. Sometimes for Christmas and Halloween, they come out with really special ones. I do keep some of them. I keep a lot of the Halloween ones. I really, really like them. I use them as pencil holders. I use them to hold my makeup and my vanity. And I use them. I have one that I use for Band-Aids and Neosporin. But I do keep these, the ones I really like. But it took a while to sell. I think it's because it was 21 of them. I might try to list smaller bundles of my Ipsy bags. And alternatively, if you also do Ipsy and you don't feel like listing your bags, you can donate them to women's shelters for domestic violence and for women that are unhoused. And they put together little toiletry bags with like tampons and sample shampoos and toothpaste and things like that for the women. So that's something you could do too. I am just not pulling up Mercari right. Okay. Real quick, Massimo striped bralette. I let this one go for $12. This was not one of my new ones. This was from last year from the Goodwill for $1. So this one I did let go for $12. My newer Massimos that I got from the Whatnot shows, I'm selling for like around $15. This is a teething ring that came in my one of my bulk buys from Etsy that I buy. It's a breakaway. I wasn't sure how I felt about this. You aren't allowed to list it on eBay because it is recall. It's not safe. It's a breakaway. Like the baby can break it away and choke on the beads. So I put that in my description and just said, you know, whatever. It's choking hazards. I wouldn't give it to a baby. I'd just wear it. And then this little dude, still trying to clearance out a lot of my plush. I'm continuing to clearance out a lot of items and make a lot of room in my garage and up here in the closet for new items. I'm very close to capacity and I want to continue listing new stuff. So I got rid of the old. And this is just a little Zoom. Is it Zoom Zoom or Tum Tum? Y'all tell me in the comments. Is it Zoom Zoom or Tum Tum? Anyway, these are just the cutest little Disney plushes. I've had Minions, I've had Minnie Mouse, I've had Luke. They're like so small and cute. Okay, we're looking at my catalog again because for some reason today, I'm recording this on June 5th. You'll be watching it on the 8th. My Etsy will not load on my main work laptop. It just spins and spins and spins. I don't know what's going on. I asked Google if Etsy's down. I went to all the websites. Etsy's fine. I went over on my backup laptop, which used to be Keith's worktop. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. It used to be Keith's work laptop, and it became my secondary. It's where I run my list perfectly, auto-detect sales to end items as they sale on all the different platforms. Sell, not sale. Again, I can't talk today. I pulled up my Etsy just fine over there and was able to print my labels to ship this morning. But excuse me, why isn't it working on this one? And I don't even see. I shipped something else this morning. And I don't even see it here. Oh my goodness, I need to straighten myself out. Let me look at Etsy on my phone. It's working on my phone. It's working on my backup laptop. But it is not being cooperative on this. And before you ask, yes, I deleted all my cookies. I rebooted the computer. I did all the things. Before he was an accountant, Keith was an IT. And I know to do all the things on my computer. So I did all that. It just won't load on this one. What did I ship this morning? Was it this? No. Was it? No, that was an alabaster necklace. I think I already showed you guys. And it helps if you know how to use the phone. You guys are bored, but I really want to see if I can find my sales on here. Sales and discounts. No, that's the sales. You know what? I'm supposed to record another Etsy tutorial today too on the 3-part sales and discounts using the Etsy tools. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I can't even pull my orders here. Oh, there we go. Shipped, completed, in transit. There's nothing in transit. I shipped something this morning. Don't act like I'm crazy. This is acting like I'm crazy, guys. This is acting like I'm crazy. Oh, I can't. Okay, I shipped a scarf this morning and another movie. I think. Have I told you about the Van Helsing movie? Anyway, I shipped a nice scarf, and maybe it just didn't get marked on LP because my Etsy is acting up. Let's pull it up here. It's a Johnston and Murphy. And I need a drink of water. Please hold. It's marked sold. Remember when I told you I'm getting into scarves? I'm really digging scarves. This one was a nice one. So I've been just hanging them on my command hook like that. And then spreading them out on like a pants hanger. And just kind of taking a bunch of different views. But yeah, I sold the scarf for probably 20. I would have put this on Etsy for 25, and I usually take off for it. Well, no, I sold it for 25. You can look at my phone, you know. Okay, we got Poshmark still to look at and eBay. So let me ramp it up and talk less. A Sailor Pig. I had inherited a whole bunch of figurines, mostly pigs, but other animals as well, from Keith's aunt's estate. And just like with the DVDs, I did like a month or two of Whatnot shows and sold some of them off. Now I'm listing all of them everywhere and just disclosing any damage because a lot of these are very vintage and very old. His aunt was in her 70s, so a lot of this she had been collecting for 50 years. Anyway, I thought the little Sailor Pig was so cute. We have just a leather tassel keychain with an animal print. It came in a jewelry box, and sometimes I do get keychains like this, and I just list them. $19. A monkey from Target. I thought he was so, he is just so cute. Like purple, of course, is my favorite color. But this is the prettiest little monkey. He's so cute. And he sold for 15. And then a Tori Praver swimsuit. All the swimsuits that I have bought, and it's like 170 at this point on Whatnot, I've had 2 Tori Pravers. This one that sold on Poshmark for $25 last week, and then one in my newest one that I just recently listed. But a Tori Praver is a brand you guys want to look for. It does sell for about $25, $30, depending on if the size and what your top or bottom looks like. Getting into eBay now. JM Collection is a very generic brand. I believe this is Walmart. Correct me if I'm wrong. Valerie, if you're watching, you always know. I want to say it's Kmart, and it was a plus size for women. No, that was JMS, just my size. Well, correct me, but either way, this is a really cute top. I really love women's plus size blouses. It's like my new jam. I don't really sell that many jeans anymore, and y'all remember jeans used to be my jam. I just get so many of these really nice tops for 99 cents when I go to the Goodwill. And it's more about size and style than it is brand. If it's a big size and it's pretty, it's coming home with me. This one sold for $20.78, but it also had $8 shipping on it. So it sold for $28 total. This was something of mine that I cleared out. Speaking of purging your house every once in a while and doing some spring cleaning. I had this for a lot of years. I read it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I have a whole shelf on my bookshelf back there that's just vampire books and vampire lore. I have a thing for vampires. But this was a magazine, and I could never get it to stand up on the bookshelf or display it nicely. So I decided to just let it go. And it sold for 15 all in. This little dude, I just clearanced down. I just thought I'd show him to you because I thought he was cute. He's a generic little bear. I'm going to go real quick through some costume jewelry just to stick with my theme every week that I try to do in my highlight reel, is to show you that costume jewelry doesn't have to be sold at garage sale, junk sale prices. This is faux pearl and cords. all in, it sold for right around 33. It's not the only one I pulled up. There we go. This one is just a vintage stacked big antique looking bracelet. And that one sold for right around 24 all in. We have a Tommy Bahama t-shirt. I want to show you this because most people think of Tommy Bahama and they think of the button-up, big graphics, Hawaiian shirts. This is a recognized, well-known brand that people will buy regardless. The men's jeans in Tommy Bahama are really good if you find them. And even these plain t-shirts. Can you get a lot more for the Hawaiian ones? Yes. Will I spend $1 to sell something for 25? Yes, I will. All day, every day. A stylish bandeau bikini top. So I sold this. It's from the new stuff. I did take a best offer on it of 15, but actually I listed it for $18.74 because I wanted 15. I was going to let it go on my 20%. I run a 20% off sale all the time, around the clock, around the days, and I list stuff at 25% higher so that when it goes on sale, it's the price I actually want, and then I can do offers from there. It allows me more wiggle room. It's psychology. It's playing games. It's not necessarily my favorite thing. I wish we could all just list things and they would sell. But the buyers expect games in psychology, and so you have to play the game. Anyway, this, they had interest in it before my sale. Grabbed it. When new listings come up, it sometimes can take a few hours for your running sale to grab the new items. They offered me 12. I'm like, let me try for 15 because that's what I wanted, and they got it. Plus the 6 shipping. And I have this up just to quickly show you some more jewelry. You guys can sell jewelry for good prices. And then I have my coup de grace. This is my best sale of the week, probably of a couple of months, to be honest with you. I'm a bread and butter volume seller. I don't often find things like this. Do y'all remember when for months on end, I was opening the unboxing the 250 pounds of inventory I got from my friend Lori? This is one of the things in there. There were Dolce & Gabbana shirts. There were Chanel. These aren't things I find here in Blue Collar, Pennsylvania. Lori lives in California, and I'm sure she found a lot of nice stuff like this. So this was a great sale. $192 for a scarf. I'm going to be on the hunt for more scarves. But will I find a Chanel in Pittsburgh? Probably not. Probably not. But I'll have my eyes open. Hey, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments section down below. I know this was kind of a longer video because it was two put together. But I didn't want to not show you the one I'd already recorded. It's fine. You guys, let me know in the comments if you have anything to say. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because both of those activities will help me feed my hungry hippos. Remember, I need to make my little pennies off these videos to justify spending time away from listing and actively making money as a reseller. I have to make money here or I can't justify it. You guys, go be productive. Go do stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.